So hello and welcome to everybody on Facebook and everybody on Zoom. We are here for Power Watts at Home workout number 25. The name of today's workout is Above Average, and we are going to be doing some interesting exercises today. We're going to be adding a self-paced element to the workout, which we do a lot in studio when we ride on CPX. Something we haven't done a lot on the Power Watts at Home, except for maybe the ISN Pro Challenge 10 times 30 second effort. That was self-paced. So today we're going to do something similar, except instead of 30-second efforts, we're going to be doing 1 minute self-paced efforts. So I'll tell you guys a bit more about that in a moment. So we're about to get started. So 3, 2, 1, and we are underway with the workout. And everybody is still kind of getting everything set up, but we got a couple minutes here. First 4 minutes, we're just riding steady at 50% while everybody gets everything dialed in.
Have we started?
Yeah, we've started, Mean Gene.
Okay, sorry.
Oh, nothing, no worries. I'm sure you'll be good to go in just a moment. And JF, how are you doing?
Not bad.
Yeah?
Busy with everything.
Still doing a lot of yard work, or is that done now?
We're taking a small break. I've been working on a boat, an old boat.
Really?
Bring the kids for a dip every evening in the water.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. So what were you, like, was it a broken boat that you're kind of reconditioning, or?
Oh, it's a boat that I've owned for 39 years.
39 years?
Yeah. And the boat's older than that. So.
Wow, that's great. Are your kids enjoying that?
Some of them.
Well, they like being in the water. They miss swimming.
Ah, yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
So is the water, like, warm enough now to go in without a wetsuit?
Yeah.
Ah, perfect. Oh, that's great that you're doing that. And Miss Piggy and Professor, how are you guys doing? I can't unmute you, Miss Piggy.
There we go. Good, Mark.
Yeah, how's everything at school, Miss Piggy?
Well, it was the last day yesterday, so I was a little sad, but that's okay.
So now you don't have to go to school anymore, though?
No.
Oh, that's great. That's great. And did you get to see the kids or no?
Yeah, we did like a drive-through. My kids were driving in the school parking lot, and then I was able to give them like a little gift I prepared for them for the end of the school year. So
Oh, that's great. And how about you, Professor? How you doing?
I'm fine. So about me for school is done. So I'm still at the prom to organize, but we don't know when.
Oh, yeah, I guess that'll be tricky to find a time for that.
So it could be in October, depending how the thing will go, or next year in June.
Oh, wow. That would be a long delay. Hopefully, maybe for the kids' sake, you guys could do it in October.
I think Baby Bell will be ready before.
Yeah, yeah. Baby Bell's growing up quick. Amazing, guys. So just so everybody knows, in about 1 minute's time, we have a 30-second surge that we're going to be doing. We have a couple 30-second surges as part of our warm-up here. The first one's going to be to 80%. The second one's going to be to 90%. The third one's going to be to 100%. We got some surges in there to start to prime your anaerobic systems, prime your fast twitch muscle fibers a bit to get you guys ready for our first drill of the day, which is going to be 5 times 1 minute of effort with 1 minute of recovery in between. And the goal of that is to hold the highest average power you can across all 5 of those 1 minute segments. So a lot of you guys have done this before in studio, so it'll be interesting to have an opportunity to do it while you guys are riding at home. And also, so once we're done our general warm-up, before we do the 5 times 1 minute drill, we're going to be doing a 5 times 30 second specific warm-up. We're going to do 30 seconds of effort, 30 seconds of rest, and we're going to escalate up those powers to right around where you're going to be for the 5 times 1 minute effort to make sure that everybody's ready. Okay, so we got our first little 30-second pace increase here. So here we go, guys. 80% watts for 30 seconds. Just kind of get the leg speed going a little bit here. Or also you could choose to push a bigger gear, go into a bit of a more muscular effort. Whichever approach you do, all we're trying to do is get a little bit of activation in the legs here. And Trophy Wife, I could see that your gauge is connected. So if you could just maybe get on the bike and pedal, we'll see what happens. All right, guys, so now we're going to go back down to 60% for 3 minutes. How's everything over there, Trophy Wife?
I can't. I lost my screen completely, so I can't see my gauge. So I'm just gonna reboot and try again. Okay.
Okay, sure. You don't necessarily have to reboot. You might just have to close the website completely and then reopen it.
Okay, and I do it through the email, Mark?
Yeah, you could do it through that email link to get back to where you were.
Okay.
So give that a shot, that Trophy Wife, and we'll see how that goes.
Okay. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
My pleasure. And Sting, how are you doing today?
All good, very good.
Very good. Oh, I'm glad to hear.
This morning.
Did you go for a run yet today?
Oh, I did.
Wow, you start early now.
Yes, I went, and there was someone in front of me, which made me feel like I was running slow, so I ran faster, and I feel it now.
Oh. But you know, Sting, when you ran faster to pass the person, did you say the right thing to them as you passed them? Do you know what you're supposed to say?
What am I supposed to say?
Get the F out of the way.
No, I didn't say that.
You didn't say that? Okay, well, next time you have that opportunity, you got to do that.
Okay.
That's the thing.
Mark told me I'm allowed.
This is
I mean it with the best of intentions.
This is I guess a communication strategy that was devised by Big Daddy. So it's important to implement it, and you never know, if you say it to somebody, they might actually recognize it, since he says it a lot.
There we go.
All right, guys. So I'm glad to have you here, Sting. So glad to have JF and Brenda, Miss Piggy, Professor. We got Mean Gene, and we got Trophy Wife. So glad that you're all here. Okay, guys. So in about 45 seconds, we're going to be doing our next 30-second surge. We're going to be going up to 90% this time. So try to just use a slightly different tactic to what you did on the previous one. So Sting, I saw you went high cadence on the previous one. Mean Gene, you're a bit of a moderate cadence, 85 RPM. So Mean Gene, go to a higher RPM. Sting, go to a bit of a lower RPM. JF and Brenda, Miss Piggy, Professor, just try something a little different to activate different muscle groups on this next little surge here. So it's only 30 seconds. It's only 90%. So Jeff and Brenda, don't go too hard. I mean, this will be like a 7.5 out of 10 effort. It's an activation that we're trying to do here. We don't want to create too much fatigue at this point. So 3, 2, 1, and here we go, guys and gals. So let's bring that power up right around 90% watts. And we got this for another 15 seconds. And looks like we have somebody else jumping in here. We'll see if they get connected in just a sec. Okay, so let's keep it up, guys. Keep working that power output. So 3, 2, 1. And now we got 2.5 minutes at 70%. So let's just take a moment here. I'll tell you guys a little bit about the specific warm-up that we're going to be doing. But just before that, we have J-Train on the line. J-Train, you decided to join us. Or perhaps J-Train has no volume right now. J-Train, you decided to join us. How you doing?
Well, my knee started working about 5 minutes ago, so I thought I'd see if I could get something out of the day.
Well, that nice haircut of yours, you might have to increase your power output after getting a haircut. Well, I'm glad that you're here, J-Train, so we'll see how it goes. Just, of course, be careful with the knee, but if it's feeling better, let's hope that you can get some good power output out of it. All right, guys, so we got a minute and a half left at 70%. Then we're going to do 30 seconds at 100%. And then we're going to take a little break. Not a long break, just a short break, minute and a half. And then we're going to do 5 times 30 seconds. The 5 times 30 seconds we're going to be escalating up the power. We're going to go 110, 115, 120, 125, and 130%. So 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off. And then we get our normal break at the end of a warm-up, which is about 3 minutes. So then we're going to take a 3-minute break. And after that 3-minute break, we're going to do 5 times 1 minute. And during the 5 times 1 minute, the power target that you'll see is going to be assigned on the gauge that's beside me here. And if anybody using the app at home, the power target's 130%. But what we want you guys to do is we want you to go to the highest average power that you can across all 5 of those 1-minute efforts. So you could choose to say do the first few at 130% and see how it feels, and if that's okay, start to go a little bit higher. If you think that 130% is a bit too much to start for you, then start off a bit lower. Start off maybe at 120%. Or if you want to start off with a bang, feel free to go to higher than 130% on that first one, and then we'll see what happens on the subsequent ones. The pacing strategy is totally up to you. So 3, 2, 1, and here we go. Let's go to 100%. And the idea here, there's kind of 2 parts to the idea of an exercise like this. The first one is to work on your pacing mechanism at anaerobic power. So that's something that's not practiced a lot. Oftentimes pacing is oriented towards longer duration efforts. So we're going to be practicing your pacing for short efforts, anaerobic efforts, learning for you guys how much you could squeeze out of yourself on 1 rep while still being able to succeed on the next rep. All right, so 1.5 minutes of recovery.
Mark,
Yes, Mean Gene.
do you know that you're freezing?
I'm freezing.
Yeah.
Miss Piggy, am I freezing for you?
No.
Sting, am I freezing for you?
No,
Okay, so it might be your internet connection, Mean Gene.
I'm just glad my workout's not freezing.
Yeah, so the good thing is the gauge runs locally on your machine, so if you lose a bit of internet connection, you might lose me for a sec, but your workout will keep going.
Oh,
Excellent.
Fantastic. All right, and now we got Trophy Wife. You've got it connected, Trophy Wife. Fantastic. So that 5 times 1 minute effort, one element of it is anaerobic pacing, and the other element is to develop your anaerobic power output in general. If you guys are going to be doing 5 times a minute, and let's say you pull off riding at 120, 130, 140%, that's a huge anaerobic stimulus for your body, and that's going to lead to big fitness gains for those short, hard efforts, like say a short climb or a highway overpass or an acceleration to close a gap. That's exactly where you're going to be using the fitness that we developed today. So first thing, we're going to go into the specific warm-up now. So we're going to go 30 seconds at 110%. So 3, 2, 1, and let's bring it up. And so now this is a warm-up, so you don't want to overdo the warm-up here. You can kind of gradually ease your watts up to the 110%. If you don't feel ready yet, you can even go a little bit lower than the 110% and still build up. The goal is at the end of the 5th effort for you to feel a good engagement of the muscles, a good engagement of the breathing, so that you're ready for the 5 times a minute. All right, guys, so let's ease it down. So you got 30 seconds recovery. And Trophy Wife, did you connect your trainer?
No,
And did you connect that button to connect it?
it doesn't. It says that my Bluetooth is disabled, so I don't know how to do it.
So are you using Google Chrome or are you using a different browser?
I tried to connect with Google Chrome. Oh no, it's Internet Explorer.
So you'll have to close Internet Explorer and open it in Google Chrome. So let's go up to 115%, guys. For some reason, Microsoft chose not to support Bluetooth in their browser, so we had to use Google Chrome for that. So you'll have to close the window that you're in, Trophy Wife, and open it again. And let's hope that the third time's a
I'm
charm.
shutting down. I'm going to start again.
Perfect. All right, guys, so we're holding the 115%. Good. So Jay trained very nice. Sting, Mean Gene, great power outputs. JF, Brenda, Miss Piggy, Professor, good work, guys. Okay, so we got 30 seconds to recover. So something I just want to mention is if I asked you guys to do a 5-minute effort all out with no rest at all, most of you guys would be able to average around 120%. So we're doing 120% now. So just think about the feel of that. So we're going to be doing 5 times a minute with 1 minute recovery. So it's a very good chance that you'll be able to average higher than 120%. So 3, 2, 1, and here we go. So think about this feel at 120%. Most riders, their average power for 5 minutes nonstop is, around 117, 118%. So we can round that up to say 120. So you guys could probably do this 5 minutes nonstop. So you'd want this to be the lowest power output that you would target for any one of the 1 minute segments that we're going to be doing. So 3, 2, 1, and let's back it off. So 30 seconds recovery. Now, if you're slow to warm up, and I know some of you guys takes a little bit more time to get the engines running, that 120% may have felt pretty challenging. But that's why we're going to continue on our specific warm-up here going over 120%. That's going to lead to super compensation in your body, and that's going to help make the start of the first 1 minute effort feel a little bit easier. So now we're going to go to 125, guys. So here we go. 3, 2, 1. And let's kick it up to 125%. And it's whatever tactics you want here, too. So I could see some of you guys are standing, some of you guys are sitting, some high cadence, some low cadence. It's great to see a range of different tactics. You're going to want to explore a range of different tactics during the 5 times 1 minute effort. During the 3 minute recovery, I'll give you guys some suggestions. There's some strategies that tend to work well compared to other strategies. So 3, 2, 1, and back it off. Great work, guys. So Sting and Mean Gene, great work. Both you guys sitting at the higher cadence. J-Train standing all the way, and a nice standing cadence. J-Train up around 73, 74 on the RPM. That's great at these higher power outputs. Okay, so now we got one more. We're going to be doing 30 seconds at 130%, and then you guys get a 3 minute recovery period, which will be very helpful. There hasn't been much rest yet so far today. So 3, 2, 1, and let's go up to 130%. Good way to be, Brenda. Great acceleration. Keep that up, JF. Nice standing position. Miss Piggy, Professor, out of the saddle, standing strong. Good way to be, Mean Gene, using that cadence. Sting, wow, standing up. High 70s on the RPM. J-Train standing up almost in the 80s on the RPM. So good range of strategies. Think about the feel of this effort. So 3, 2, 1, and let's back it off. Good, great warm-up, guys. And if anybody riding on Zoom or anybody riding on Facebook, if that was a very challenging warm-up for you, think of it as a good thing. Sometimes when the warm-up is very challenging like that, it's going to help make the first 1 or 2 exercises feel less challenging. Whenever we have a workout that has a general warm-up and has a specific warm-up, you want the specific warm-up to actually feel pretty demanding. That way, the first rep or the second rep, your body's kind of already over the hump of warming up and being prepared for the exercise. All right, so Miss Piggy and Professor, how'd you guys find that warm-up?
Oh, Mark, you can unmute us now.
Yeah.
It was very challenging, Mark. I'm still catching my breath.
Will you be ready to go in 2 minutes?
I don't have a choice to say yes.
And how about you, Professor? How's that warm-up?
So far, so good. But like I said last time, I don't have any power meters, so I try to go on the feeling. But I'm sure when we go back there, I think I'm not at the right power. I'm probably sure, but I try the best I can.
Well, you're doing a great job, Professor, and the key thing is as long as you're in the neighborhood, if you're not on the exact power, it doesn't matter. As long as you're within a range of it, you're getting the intended training effect. And I know Jeff and Brenda, you guys don't have power meters either, so on this drill, like on the first 1 minute effort, you guys are going to want to do the 1 minute at probably around, almost a 9 out of 10 effort, 8.5, we'll say 8.5 to 9 out of 10 effort to get to that 120% or maybe a little bit more. And then on subsequent reps, you want that effort level to go up. So say like 9, 9.25, 9.5, and then maybe the last 2 reps are both like a 10 out of 10 effort. And because as fatigue accumulates here, the effort level is going to go up in order to maintain or increase that power. Yes, Miss Piggy, question.
Can we kind of choose, like we start at like 120 and for example, like go up by 5% on each one?
Absolutely, yeah. It's self-paced, Miss Piggy, so you could use whatever tactic that feels best. So the question was, can you start at 120 and go up by 5% on each rep? Absolutely, that's a great strategy. Another great strategy is holding, say, the first 3 reps at a steady power and then deciding after that to increase if you feel okay. Or you can do a really hard rep on the first one. You can bring the power down a bit on the second and the third one and then try to bring it back up on the last 2. So it's totally up to you guys. We're about to start our first minute here. The power target is 130, but you guys could do a bit less than that or a bit more than that or bang on whatever you want. It's self-paced. Okay, so 3, 2, 1, and here we go, guys. So while you're doing this, you just want to think in your head across all 5 reps. You want to get to the highest average power you can. So for some riders, the best approach is to progressively increase the power. For other riders, you're better off starting harder and then maybe having slight power decreases the rest of the way. It really depends on your riding style and your, if you guys think about that little pie chart, if that pie chart is more sprint oriented or lead out oriented, you'll start harder and then potentially decrease a bit. If you're more endurance oriented, you'll start a bit easier and then increase a bit. So let's keep that effort up, guys. Keep it up, J-Train. So we're getting there. And we got 5 more seconds on this first one. And I can see some of the power outputs on screen. All right, so let's back it off. So great work, guys. Okay, so first rep is done. So you got 1 minute to recover. In terms of these recovery periods, the way you're going to want to approach it is you want to spend a good 30 to 40 seconds recovering, but then you want to spend 15 to 20 seconds leading up to the next rep, because if you start too slow with no momentum, then you guys aren't going to have a good acceleration. So keep recovering for another, say, 10 or 15 seconds, and then bring your watts up a bit to like 40 or 50% with a little bit of momentum, 70 to 80 RPM, so you can give it a quick start. And now we got Trophy Wife back in. There we go, and I can see your stats, Trophy Wife. Amazing. So you are good. Okay, guys, so look at your power output. Get to 50 or 60% watts here. Okay, and now let's get rep number 2 underway. So we had Mean Gene at 136%, Sting at 130, and the J-Train, your power didn't come in on the last one. So 3, 2, 1, so let's go for it. So you guys can choose to the same level of effort. You can go a bit harder, or you can back it off a bit if you feel like you did the first one a bit too hard. And JF and Brenda and the Professor, you want your effort level for this rep to be a smidge higher than what you did on the first rep. So keep it up, Trophy Wife. Good way to be, J-Train. Great effort you're putting in there. So Sting, that's great. Mean Gene, nice power output, nice position. Professor Miss Piggy driving away. Great work, JF and Brenda. Just think about that RPE scale, how hard it is on 10. Make sure you rate around 9 on 10, especially in the last few seconds here. All right, guys, so 3, 2, 1, and back it off. And so Trophy Wife, you didn't really get much of a warm-up here. So you might have to ease into these reps rather than jumping right into the 130%. And J-Train, well done. Increased your power from the first rep. Sting, you kept it the same. Mean Gene, you went up by 1%. Great pacing, Mean Gene. And Miss Piggy, Professor, I can't see your power outputs, but effort level was definitely there. Same thing for JF and Brenda. Okay, so now we're going to be on rep number 3. So on rep number 3 now, everyone make sure you give it a quick start. A little tactic, a way that you can increase your average power output is by putting a little bit more oomph into the first 5 seconds of the rep. But don't go too hard for too long at the start. 5 seconds is usually just right. If you go really hard for 10 seconds, then you feel the effects. If you go really hard for 5 seconds and then ease into your target power after that, tends to go pretty well. So 3, 2, 1, and quick oomph off the start here, guys. Work that acceleration, and now start to ease down towards the power target that you want to sustain for this effort. That little acceleration will get you up to speed faster. It'll get a couple watts in the bank. Sometimes, after about 30 seconds, there might be a little bit of a lull. So you can make up for that by the hard start, and then you'll just have to give a hard finish as well so you don't lose too much. So keep it up, JF. Keep working that power output. Way to be, Brenda. Nice position on the bike, Brenda. Keep that up. Mean Gene in the arrow position. Way to be, Sting. J-Train, that's fantastic. So try not to sway the head too much. J-Train just pissing those legs up and down. Great focus, Miss Piggy and Professor. Nice positions, guys. So let's keep it up. Another 10 seconds. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Everybody accelerate it up a bit. So we're almost there. So 3, 2, 1, and back it off. Great efforts, guys. Okay, so little break. So J-Train, what I want you to do on the next one, I want you to stay sitting and just do a light acceleration for the first 15 to 20 seconds. And then in the last 30 to 40 seconds, stand up and go hard in the last 30 to 40 seconds. But just be a little bit gentler off the start and start it sitting, because once you start standing, there's no going back. So accelerate sitting at only a moderate effort, and then stand and push hard in the last 30 to 40 seconds. All right, guys, second to last rep. So numbers are looking good. Way to be, Trophy Wife, 135% on that one. Mean Gene, you keep going up. Sting, you went up again. Okay, so let's get ready. Get some momentum. We got 2 reps left. We want you guys up at around near a 10 out of 10 effort here on this one, if not this one, on the last one. So 3, 2, 1, and kick it up, guys. Let's go. Quick start. And J-Train just build into it sitting. Wow, Sting and Mean Gene and Trophy Wife, great accelerations off the beginning. Okay, now settle into a rhythm that you know you can sustain here, and then you can give it another little kick up right near the end. Keep it up, J-Train. As long as the sitting's working, stick to it, and then when you stand up, go a couple gears harder and commit to the standing the rest of the way. Great work, Trophy Wife. Nice standing position in the drops. All right, way to be, JF. Way to attack the standing. Keep it up, Brenda. There you go, J-Train. Good. And now good. Adjust the gears, J-Train, and just keep pissing the legs. Keep it up, Mean Gene. Accelerate again, Mean Gene. Sting, great power output. Keep it up, Professor. Bring the effort level up, Professor. JF, Brenda, bring the effort level up, guys. Way to be, Miss Piggy. So 3, 2, 1, and back it off. Wow. So Mean Gene went up again. Sting, you went up again. Trophy Wife went up by 13%. J-Train, that was a great tactical execution on the one that you just did. You were able to stay on target sitting for 30 seconds and then increase in the final 30 seconds. So do something similar on this last one, J-Train. Okay, so we got one left, guys. So we got some really good power outputs. Really impressive to see Mean Gene, Trophy Wife almost already at 150%, and Sting, you just keep going up on that power. So these are great efforts. So, and now Professor, JF, and Brenda, we're looking for a 10 out of 10 effort, guys. Okay. I'm excited for you, JF. I'm excited. So let's get ready, guys. We're going in 10 seconds. Get a little bit of momentum here. This is the final of the 5. Then you get a 5-minute recovery period after this. So 3, 2, 1, and let's go. Let's lay it all on the line here. Really go hard into this effort. Wow, Sting, Mean Gene, great accelerations. Trophy Wife, great start. Nice position, Miss Piggy and Professor. So you guys are definitely committed to that standing position all the way. J-Train, you're right where you want to be. Way to be, Brenda. Great standing position, Brenda. Keep it up, JF. Nice leg pumping action there. All right, so J-Train, you're going to have to transition soon. Keep it up, Trophy Wife. Huge power. Let's go, Mean Gene. Great cadence, Mean Gene. Keep working that RPM. So J-Train, put your hands in the drops and just drive. Just drive. Final accelerations, guys. Mean Gene, pedal faster in the gear you're in. Keep it up, Sting. Sting as well. Increase that cadence. Way to be, Miss Piggy and Professor. Keep it up, JF and Brenda. So 3, 2, 1. And that's it, guys, and back it off. Wow. What a finish. So you got 5 minutes to recover. So we'll give you guys a little bit of time to catch your breath here. So the numbers that I have on my end here, for those of you guys on the app, we got some great numbers. So Mean Gene, let's take a look at your progression. You did 136%, 137%, 142%, and then 147% on the last two. So incredible effort, Mean Gene. A nice progressive building strategy. And I'm really glad, though, that you went out at higher than 130% right off on the first one. So you weren't even holding back on that first one. So a super job, Mean Gene. How do you feel about your effort?
Good. I mean, I was shooting for the stars. I thought 150 could be doable, but it wasn't.
150 for the last one, you mean, or for all of them?
I wanted to go as hard as I could for the first one, but there was too much pain involved.
yeah, too much pain. Yeah, definitely. But I think your progression is really good. I think 150 is probably a little bit on the high side,
Yeah.
but I think what you did was absolutely tremendous. So well done, Mean Gene.
Thank you.
And so Sting, we got a great progression on your power as well. So Sting, we got 130%, 130%, 135, 138, and 153 on the last one. Well done, Sting. How'd you find that effort?
On my last one, in the end, I changed my gears. I went way too muscular on I should have just kept my cadence up, I think.
Well, I noticed you were down
the
in the
last
60
few.
RPMs for the first time. So definitely the
Yeah.
harder gear doesn't always work better at the high powers.
It really didn't work better.
Well, it's still a great effort, though. You still managed to squeeze 153% out of yourself on that last one with a nice progression throughout. So way to be, Sting. So Trophy Wife, you didn't get a chance to do all of them, but the last few that you did, we have 135%, 146%, and 178%. Amazing work, Trophy Wife. How are you feeling?
Good. I just warmed up.
Yeah, I guess with zero warm-up, jumping right into that, that's pretty tough. So way to be, Trophy Wife. And so J-Train, you ran into a little bit of trouble on that third one, possibly maybe from trying to stand a little bit too long, but you regrouped really well on those last two. How'd you feel on those last two when you started sitting?
Much better. So thank you for the guidance, because I was feeling pretty tired when I started, and definitely not enough warm up for me.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. You would have usually ridden for like 20 or 30 minutes before this even started to get your body going. But so it's interesting to keep that in mind for you. You definitely have to stand to hit the really high powers, but to do it as much as you can sitting first and then transition to standing can be super helpful. Miss Pig and Professor, how'd you guys find that effort?
Oh, that was really challenging, Mark. Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, it's a huge effort. Were you able to progress your power on each one, Miss Piggy?
Yes, but I couldn't go higher than 135.
Oh really?
No, and I felt like I was way higher than 135.
But so that's the other thing. It could be the trainer, could be the calibration issue with the trainer. So,
But Mark,
yes.
I think too the other reason could be possible that the gear she having on the bike can make a difference.
Yeah, do you feel like you're overspinning, Miss Piggy, even when you're calibrated? Like, are you in your hardest gear?
No, because now I'm on Zwift, right? So I can have some resistance.
Okay, so yeah, it's probably not the gear so much as maybe just the bike's calibration might not be spitting out the numbers that you're used to using, like the units that we have at Power Watts.
But it's okay. It was good though.
All right, guys. So now, so our 5-minute rest is already done. And Jeff and Brenda, I'm just going to ask you guys how you did in just a sec. Just so you guys know, the next element that we have is we're going to switch now to endurance development for the remainder of the workout, but we're not going to just do steady efforts. The next one, we're going to be doing 30 seconds at 70%, 30 seconds at 100%. So this effort's going to average out to 85%. We're going to do it for 5 minutes straight, and there's RPM targets at 100% to challenge you to pedal a little bit faster. Okay, so let's go to 70%. We're going to hold the 70% for 30 seconds. Then you're going to do 30 seconds at 100%. and at 90 RPM. JF and Brenda, how did you guys find that exercise, the 5 times a minute?
I found it very challenging.
So you're definitely putting in that high effort level then.
Yeah, definitely.
And how about you, JF?
Slow warm-up day.
Slow warm-up day. So let's go to 100% and 90 on the RPM. Maybe if you turn off that fan, JF, you'll warm up a lot faster in there, but it might be a real mess.
Yeah.
Okay, so as close as you guys can to 100% and 90 RPM. And what we're going to be doing on the 30-second efforts at 100% is the first one's at 90 RPM like you're doing now. Then we're going to go to 100 RPM. Then we're going to go to 110 RPM. But now we're going to go down to 70% first at whatever RPM you want. So since we're going to be going to a higher cadence at the 100% efforts, you might choose to pedal a little bit slower at the 70%. It makes sense to contrast because we're contrasting the powers high and low, so it makes sense to contrast the cadence also. So in this case, lower cadence maybe at the lower power because we have a higher cadence at the higher power. So now we're going to go for as close to 100 RPM as you can. So 3, 2, 1, and here we go. So 100%, 100 on the RPM. So the key thing here is to get to that power output first. Might take, 5-6 seconds. And then after that, take a look at the cadence. And if you get, say, if you're over 110 RPM, go 1 gear harder. But if you're under 90, if you're at like only 90 RPM, make sure you go 1 gear easier. So you're around, say, 95 to 105 range. So let's keep it up. So 3, 2, 1, and let's ease it back down to 70%. When we go down to the 70%, a little trick to help maintain the foot pressure, especially after this next one that we're doing, where you're going to be at 100%, 110 RPM, is as you bring the power down, go 1 or 2 gears harder. That increases the pressure underneath your feet so you kind of have a better control as you're bringing that power down. So we're about to go up to the high cadence. Right when that 30 seconds is done, they'll go into a harder gear when you go down. So here we go, 100%, 110 on the RPM. So quick gear and adjustments. Work the leg speed here. So when it says 110 on the RPM, anything, let's say over 105 is good. 105 to 115 range. So just feel like you're kind of running over top of those pedals, working the full range of motion. Okay, so now go 1 or 2 gears harder and keep pushing on the pedals. Keep pushing on the pedals and slowly bring your cadence down in that harder gear. And then once you settle in at 70%, look at your RPM. And if it's a little bit too low, then you can go 1 gear easier. But going into that harder gear definitely gives you better control. Keep it up, Mean Gene. Just a little bit more power. So Sting, that's good. Trophy Wife, that's good. J-Train, very nice. So now the next one, 100 RPM. So a little bit lower than what we just did. So 3, 2, 1. 100%, 100 on the RPM. So working the leg speed. So Jeff, Brendan, Professor at 100% here. Be at like an 8.5 out of 10 effort. Working that cadence. Working that leg speed. Good. Nice job, guys. Nice higher cadence, Brenda. Good position. Keep that up, JF. Nice pistoning action of the legs. Similar to before, it's a good idea to go 1 or 2 gears harder as we ease it down to 70% to keep that foot control. So go a gear or 2 harder. Keep that pressure underneath the feet and bring it down to 70% over the course of 5 or 6 seconds. Good. Nice work, guys. Yeah, just keep that foot pressure, Mean Gene. And so Mean Gene and Sting and Trophy Wife, you might choose to go 1 gear easier to get back up into the 80s on the RPM. You too, J-Train. But if what you're doing is working, it's fine. But if you can get into the 80s for the RPM, it'll make the acceleration coming up a bit easier. So final 30 seconds. Let's go to 100%. 90 RPM this time. 90 on the RPM. And then you guys get a 1.5 minutes of recovery. So very interesting to do an endurance development drill like this under highly fatigued conditions from that 5 times 1 minute effort. It'll be interesting to hear how difficult you guys found this drill, even though it only averaged out to 85% watts. So let's keep it up. So 3, 2, 1, and back it off. Well done on the power and the cadence on that one. So Mean Gene, how difficult did you find that exercise?
Challenging. More mental challenging, I think, than physically.
Oh yeah, so your mind hadn't recovered yet from the 5 times a minute?
Yeah, I think my brain said, you already did the hard part. You can relax now.
Yeah. well done, Mean Gene. J-Train, how'd you find that one?
Quite challenging.
So you agree with Mean Gene. How about you, Trophy Wife?
It was good.
Good? Your body's really warmed up now, I guess. So that was a great effort, Trophy Wife. Sting, how'd you find that one? Whoop.
It was good. It's just my bike is in between gears for those RPMs. So I think the chain is stretched, so it's hard to.
It's hard to get exactly on the RPM, but on average, you got the RPMs where they needed to be on each one. Okay, guys. So now, next up, we're going to do another 5-minute drill. We'll see if you guys find this one easier or harder. It's 5 minutes, steady at 90%. Okay, so the power stays steady, but we're going to vary the RPMs. So we're going to start off at 90%, 100 RPM. Then we're going to go down to 90 RPM, then down to 80. So let's go up to 100 RPM, 90%. So the previous exercise, it averaged out to 85%, but you weren't riding smooth. You had low power, high power. So now you guys got to ride smooth for the 5 minutes, holding that steady 90%. But there are different cadences. The cadences will challenge your gearing and your ability to produce power using different pedaling strategies, different pedaling techniques. So the first minute is at 100 RPM. Then we go to 90 RPM, then 80. And then after we get to 80, then we're going to go back up to 90 and back up to 100. So the final 2 minutes, final minute, will probably be pretty challenging as we start to bring the RPMs back up. So good work, guys. So since the power doesn't change here, because sometimes when the power changes, you can pedal using a different tactic at the low power and the high power. Here, the power doesn't change. So you're going to have to practice adjusting your position and your pedaling style while holding the same power. So let's go down to 90 on the RPM. So that's 1 to 2 gears harder. In general, every gear shift is 4 to 5 RPM lower if there's a change in one tooth. So if you go, say, from a 17-tooth cog to a 16-tooth cog, it'll be about 4 or 5 RPMs lower. And say if you go from a 17-tooth cog to a 15-tooth cog, so if there's 2 teeth change, then it'll be 8 to 10 RPM. So you can learn a little bit about your the gears that you have, the number of teeth on your cogs, just based on when you shift gears. Did it go by 4 or 5 RPM, or did it go by 8 to 10 RPM? You'll know if you shifted by 1 tooth or by 2 teeth. Okay, so we got 10 more seconds here, and then we're going to go to 80 RPM. So we're going to do a bit more of a muscular effort. So I'd really encourage you guys to try to recruit your muscles a little bit differently, because then we're going to start to bring the power, the cadence back up. So here we go, 80 on the RPM. And so 90% still. And you guys could experiment with different tactics. So when we say 80, it can be as low as 75 RPM. Some of you guys might even be able to stand up at 75 RPM for a bit if you want to mix things up. Or it can be 85 RPM. Those of you that don't like to grind, you can hold it at 85 RPM to feel like the cadence isn't too low. Okay, so good stuff, guys. So Professor JF Brenda, at this point, do you want to be maybe an 8 out of 10 effort on the power? And then that 8 out of 10 effort is going to really go up in the last 2 minutes here, because we're going to be bringing that cadence back up. Great power output, great cadence across the board from everybody. Okay, so now the challenge. We got to go from 80 RPM to 90 RPM. So think about tucking your bum a little bit, sliding forward on the saddle as you go 1 to 2 gears easier. So 3, 2, 1. So here we go. Another little tactic that you guys could do is you could kind of dip those toes down a little bit. That gives you better access to the top and the bottom of the pedal stroke. Changing the angle of your foot, it's interesting. It actually does quite a bit change the pressure in your legs. Oftentimes, many riders find it helpful. Not every rider, but many riders find it helpful at the higher cadence to dip the toes down a bit. So let's keep it up, guys. Keep it up, Mean Gene. You got the power and the cadence in the green. Sting, great power and cadence combo here. Trophy wife, you got the exact gear that you need here. 91, 92 RPM. J-Train, great work on the power and on the cadence. So keep that up, Miss Piggy. And now Professor JF Brenda for the last minute here. Maybe bring it up to, 8.5, 9 out of 10 effort, but 100 on the RPM. Okay, so here we go, guys. So everybody, tighten up your body. Compact your body even more. And let's go to 100 on the RPM. To maintain or to minimize that bounce, okay, think about a magnet, attracting your hips down to the saddle. And then you hold that position by kind of bracing your lower abdominal area, bracing your belly button area to push your hips down on the seat. And then you just do a running motion with your legs. You could think about the pistoning up and down. You could think about kicking forward and sweeping back to keep up to those pedals. Keep it up, Mean Gene. I'd say go 1 gear harder, Mean Gene. And bring the power up a smidge. Way to be, Sting. Keep that up. Trophy wife, super job. J-Train, very nice. Yeah, there you go. Keep that up, Mean Gene, like that. And we got 10 more seconds, guys, so let's bring it home. Everybody's got the power and the cadence. And then we got a 1.5-minute recovery. So 3, 2, 1, and let's back it off. Super job, guys. Very nice. So on my coaching screen back here, when I look through that last drill, I got green and green for everybody at every step. So very nice work on that endurance effort. So Miss Piggy, I can't unmute you again. So Miss Piggy, how was that in terms of difficulty?
It was easier. I liked it better than the previous one.
Okay. And you felt okay at the different cadences?
Yeah.
Professor, how about you?
I like this one better than the one before.
Okay, so steadier power you're more comfortable with. So good work, Professor. Jeff and Brenda, how'd you guys find that exercise?
I was happy we didn't go to 110.
Yeah. Yeah, especially at the end of already riding for 4 minutes straight, going to 110 would have been pretty tough. But great execution. Jeff, how'd you feel?
It's surprisingly tough. I don't know if it's because of the 5 shots.
Yeah, the 5 times a minute can take a long time to recover, especially for an anaerobic guy like you. Okay, guys, so now we got our last drill. So our last drill, we're going to be doing 30 seconds at 80%, 30 seconds at 110. So this is going to average out to 95%, and we're going to do 30 seconds. The first 30 seconds we're going to do it sitting, so let's just start that. So everyone stay sitting, and let's build it up to 80%. And so we have 5 segments where we're going to be going to 110%. So the first one, the third one, and the fifth one are standing. And the second one and the fourth one are sitting. So we're going to be playing around a little bit with the sit-stand power output here. So this first 30 seconds at 110, you guys are going to stand up for the 30 seconds. So 3, 2, 1, and let's go up to 110. Okay, so the overall average power for this 5-minute drill is now 95%. And so the effort level is going to be a little bit higher than the previous one. And the sit stand will make it a bit easier for some of you guys, and it'll really throw a wrench in for some of you. So Mean Gene, what you could do on the standing ones is stay sitting for the first 15 and stand for the second 15. Okay, so now let's just keep holding 80%. Okay, so 80% here. So now we're sitting at 80%, so all the 80% segments are sitting. And now the next 30 second surge to 110, we're also going to do it sitting. So it's a different acceleration strategy, different acceleration type that you got to work on. Okay, so let's go to 110 in 3, 2, 1, and you're off. Okay, and now there's no RPM target here. So you could choose to spin or you could choose to grind based on how your legs are doing. Okay, so we got 10 more seconds, guys. And then I want you to focus on your foot pressure. Keep the foot pressure the same. Just slowly bring the RPM down to go to 80%. So think about that pressure underneath your feet. Maintain it and gradually bring those RPMs down. And Mean Gene, just do your best to regroup here. On the next one, Mean Gene, it says to stand for the whole 30 seconds. So sit for the first 15 and then stand for the second 15. Okay, so we have a standing effort coming up. So 30 seconds standing at 110. Build those watts up to around 80%. So 3, 2, 1, and now kick it up to the 110. Kick it up to the 110. This is definitely a very challenging exercise at the end of everything that we've done. Definitely another endurance-oriented exercise. But with those pace variations, we are soliciting some of the muscles that are really fatigued from that 5 times 1 minute effort. Good. Keep it up, Mean Gene. Keep it up. Good. Way to be, Trophy Wife. Good. Sting and J-Train. Well done. Okay, so have a seat, guys. Now hold the 80%. Hold the 80%. So we got 2 more surges left. Okay, so we're going to do the next one sitting to 110. Keep it up, Mean Gene. Keep it up, J-Train. Just lean into those pedals, guys. Get your body weight into the pedals to hang on. And then, so it's 30 seconds sitting for the next one, and the last one's going to be 30 seconds standing at 110. So second to last surge. So 3, 2, 1, and let's go up to 110. So sitting effort here. There we go. Nice accelerations. And now just hold on to that power output. So JF, Brenda, Professor, let's have a pretty high effort level here. A solid 9, 9.25 on 10. So keep pushing, guys. Keep pushing. And I want everyone to really fight to hold on to this 80% now. So we got 30 seconds at 80%. This is the last one. So fight to hold it. Keep it up, Mean Gene. That's fantastic. Way to be, J-Train. Trophy Wife, great power output. Sting, great power output. So JF and Brenda, you guys still want to feel a good amount of pressure underneath your feet. And then we have our final 30-second effort of the day. This is going to bring our workout to a close. And then we have a 3-minute cool down period. So get ready, guys. Let's bring it home strong. So 3, 2, 1. Standing up at the 110. So here we go. And Mean Gene, wait to stand up till about the last 15 seconds. Good. So way to be, Sting. Well done, JF and Brenda. Trophy Wife, great position. Keep it up, J-Train. Trophy Wife and Professor. Miss Piggy and Professor, great accelerations. Okay, go Mean Gene, standing up. Drive it, drive it, drive it. So we're almost there, guys. So 3, 2, 1, and that's it. All right, guys, so get a little bit of recovery. And Sting, what happened over there?
My trainer.
Did you fall off your bike indoors, Sting?
I know. Can you believe it?
Well, you better wear your helmet to the next class, Sting.
I know.
Well, then.
Yeah.
Wow, it was quite interesting for me. I kind of saw it in my peripheral vision, Sting. One moment you were there, the next moment you were falling, and then you were not there. Maybe you might want to kind of reinforce your trainer base, put some weights on there or something like that. Are you okay? Did you hurt yourself on the fall?
No, I fell into my plant, so.
Oh, good thing it wasn't a rose bush.
But I'm fine.
Okay, good. I'm glad you're fine, Sting. Wow, what a finish to the session. All right, guys. So JF and Brenda, how'd that last exercise feel?
It's tough.
Tough? Brenda?
Yeah, I liked it. It felt good.
It felt good?
That's 80.
So did you prefer the variability every 30 seconds compared to the steady effort, or was it about the same?
I find steady effort a little easier.
Okay, so you prefer the steady.
Yeah.
So way to be.
I like the variability.
Yeah, JF likes the variability, so it's amazing to see the difference in each individual rider's preferences based on strengths. Mean Gene, how did you find that last exercise?
So brutal, Mark.
Yeah. I think you really squeezed a lot of juice out of those legs during that 5 times a minute, Mean Gene. So I got to tell you, I'm extremely happy at how difficult you found that last one. It
Brutal.
means that you really got the most out of yourself that in that 5 times a minute. You might not agree, but I'm really happy you felt that way.
No, I agree. When we were doing the 5 times a minute, I tried not even to look at what was happening next. I pretended like it was the last thing we were doing.
Oh, that's amazing, Mean Gene, because it's really great for you to do that since you're so oriented to endurance. Sometimes you always hold back a little bit, and I'm so happy to see how hard you pushed. And then you got to work through tremendous fatigue on these last 3 exercises. So the fitness gains, the fitness returns are really high. Yeah, brutal. So I'm going to stick on Zoom, but just for everybody on Facebook, thanks so much to you guys for joining in. It was a pleasure to have you guys participate in the workout today. So just a quick recap, we did that 5 times a minute to work on your anaerobic power and your anaerobic pacing. Then we switched to the endurance development at the end so that you guys learn how to sustain those endurance power outputs under highly fatigued conditions. So thanks so much for joining in, guys. We'll be back on Wednesday at 12 noon, and we hope that everybody has a great rest of the weekend out there on our Facebook community. So thanks for joining in.